Hey traders, it's Ryan from leprivatebanker.com. I'm just going to do a quick recap for crude oil and the SP 500. I've been actively trading both markets this week. I mean, the volatility in both crude oil and the S&P has just been astounding. I mean, just very just awesome days. I mean, we're just seeing huge ranges, huge swings, huge opportunities. Just pretty much a day trader's dream at the minute. I mean, if this was like this all year round, I mean, wow, it would be amazing. But anyway, I'm just going to quickly run through what we've seen on crude oil the past 2 days, and then I'll run through what I've seen on the on the S&P 500 also. So with crude oil, I mean, we've just seen this. We see that bottom put in. When was it now? On Tuesday. So Thursday, yeah, on Tuesday, and we see that Globex low put in at 53.60, and so you guys on the forum and other people, you know the levels that we're looking at the 53.60 area. It was a 2000, basically the crash in 2008. Once we stabilised and we went through a balancing period at the beginning of 2009. The lower distribution range was 53.60 high, and we see the clean breakout of the 53.60 level, and that's where we see the uptrend for the last 5 years until now, which we've seen a huge liquidation on the macro scale. So that 53.60 level is obviously a very important level to watch, and if we break that level, and we're most likely going to see $30 a barrel in my eyes. I mean, that's the lower extreme of the current macro distribution, and if we don't hold this low, then that's the next major level. I mean, there are a couple other little levels along the way, but I mean, that's the major target area here. So just have to see how things play out. But back to what I've been looking at. So once we see that that low put in, when we came in and we said that we found some support here, and potentially, and we said that we see the one time framing down, and we need to keep an eye on this. I mean, we came back into balance on the weekly time frame on this day, and we see potential balancing unfolding, and then on the contract rollover day, I mean, you have to imagine what's going on here. I mean, you have to understand, to operate as a professional trader every day. I mean, you have to understand everything. You have to understand all the higher time frames. You have to understand the rollovers. You have to understand the fundamentals. There is so much to do as a day trader. But again, we had the contract rollover, and obviously the market's just been we've been selling off 18 days in a row. I mean, we've just, since that news came out. The OPEC news came out, we've just seen the market one time frame, and we've not put in a higher high, we've been putting in lower lows, lower high, all the way down here, and finally we came to this support level, and we opened up with a pretty large gap down, and we just see liquidation in the market. I mean, you have to understand, we've seen contract rollover here, so if there are any of the speculative shorts, and I mean, and the shorts in the market, I mean, they have to roll over their positions. So when they roll over their positions, they've been selling for 17 days. How do you think they come in and roll over their short positions? They have to liquidate by buying, and then they re-establish in the next contract. I mean, that's how futures work. The futures contracts roll over every month. So every month the traders have to roll over their positions. So there are always rollover games, and obviously when you become an advanced professional trader, you can understand and anticipate what the market is going to do into the rollover, and how they're going to start to roll over their positions. So anyway, we see this low put in at 53.60. We start to see some liquidation on this day. I mean, it's the first day we'd actually found buying. Every other day that we opened gap down, we've seen some responsive selling, and we'd put in lower prices. We came in this day and we filled the gap off that key support level. So I was a buyer on this day as we come back into balance, and then on the rollover day, the day before rollover, I mean, we'd already put out the report saying that we've seen potential two-way trade on the weekly time frame. We were very oversold. This was the day here. We were very oversold on the higher time frame, on the macro time frames. I mean, the quarterly developing value, the monthly, and then on the weekly, we'd seen two-way trading come back into the market. So the market came down. We tested that 1.5 standard deviation off the open, and we see responsive buyers from these lower prices liquidating their positions. And once the train sort of got rolling, I mean, we also said that we have to the 5 exponential moving average was higher, and we said we had to keep an eye on the one time frame. Once the one time frame got taken out, there was just this huge liquidation. I mean, everybody who'd been selling here, all of the weak retail traders, anybody who's not a larger time frame participant, all of their buy stops are here. They're selling. They're looking to hold on to their shorts. So, and they want to keep it above the one time frame. And so, all of the sell stops were in that previous week's range, and basically on top of these highs. And obviously the market came in as soon as we triggered that 57.15. There was just a huge vacuum all the way up to that open gap, which we didn't feel, and into the 5 exponential moving average. All of the buy stops from the weak sellers were sitting there, and that was absorbed by all of the higher time frame participations that basically speculated on that happening. So very interesting move. And obviously we came in today, and we rolled over. I mean, we opened up in a new contract, so the February contract, and we opened the 5 exponential moving average was up here. I mean, we had the high of this week's distribution. I mean, obviously we've seen rotational. We've not seen an imbalance to the buy side, and we're at higher prices, so we want to sell back down into value. Until we see a buying imbalance, then that's what we want to do. The higher time frame value caught up with price, so we want to be a seller. So we came in today, we opened inside day, and we wanted to sell. I mean, I just started selling off the open today. I mean, it was quite obvious to me what we was looking at. I mean, I didn't get the best feel. I got some filled on that vacuum off the open, and then I'm not going to explain my entry, but I basically my core position was established from 57.40, and as you can see, we just basically one time frame down, and then finally we just spiked down to that previous day's lows, and then ran any stops. So at the moment we was trying to one time frame higher, but now the one time frame is taken out. We're seeing balance. So I mean, I also said this earlier. I mean, off of the open today. Let's just quickly find it. I'm just looking through my tweets from today. This is some stuff about the SP500. So, okay, so as soon as we opened today, we said current context, keep an eye on last week's low. Currently in a rebalancing stage. So I would already put potential balance. We're at the high of the balance. So the idea was to target the low of the balance. I highlighted the weekly, and I highlighted that Globex low, and I said potential balance. I mean, it's very clear to me. So I said, don't be fooled by the rollover gains. We are still looking for a rotational on the weekly with value established lower. So what I mean by this is value was established lower on the week. We were trading higher, and we want to be a seller. We want to sell back into established value. It's very, very logical, and so that's exactly what I did today, and just another amazing day with crude. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, it's quite. I mean, we did look like we were going to see a reversal here. I mean, the one time frame has stopped. We see that compression come in, and we basically just pull back to value. But when we see responsive sellers off the RTH Vwap, and we just basically continue to liquidate. So any weak buyers coming in here again, they just got nailed down. So I mean, you don't really want to fade a market like this in these conditions. You just don't want to fade it. I mean, if we do look at the what happened here, I mean, we came back in, we established value back inside that previous value, and this pullback was from buyers start to step in from the value area low. We auctioned back to yesterday's fairest price where we found a seller. It's just, I mean, that's how the auctions work. I mean, again, I'm not going to go around the rotations and the auction expectations, but it's very, very obvious that we're going to find a responsive seller from this previous day's fairest price. But yeah, that was pretty much crude covered for the last 2 days. So we've rolled over now to the February contract, and we're most likely going to see maybe a potential balance in this area now. I wouldn't be surprised if we open gap down tomorrow and see more selling here. We'd have to just have to keep an eye on things. I mean, the high time frames values are starting to catch up with price now, so just have to keep an eye on all that. So I'm just going to quickly run over the S&P here, what I've been doing the last week. So I've actually been establishing a short position on the S&P for a swing trade, and it's working out pretty nice. I mean, I missed the optimal entry for this, but I ended up getting a core position established from from roughly around the 2012s area, and every day I was coming in, the market was pulling back to the high time frame value and my areas, and I was adding the 5 exponential moving average, selling it down for 3 days in a row. I did this, scaling some awesome profits on this, banking some huge ticks on this trade, and then on the day before the FOMC release, we see this very, very rare doji, bottom end doji, I forgot what this candle's called now, but it's just a very rare candle, and you can see we opened gap down, we auctioned all the way back up to the high of that previous day's range, and then we auctioned all the way back down again. And then we came in for the FOMC minutes, and the market auctioned all the way back up, and I did start trying to sell the 5 exponential moving average and trying to sell it back down again, but I ended up bailing on my intraday shorts into the FOMC release, and then sorry, I've got a bit of a cold here, and then on the FOMC release, I mean, I ended up holding my core because we didn't get stopped. We didn't see, my stops were basically just at my above, basically just a break even on the trade, and I feel a little bit naive now. I mean, it just really looked to me like we were going to possibly break down below this 100 exponential moving average, come and close this gap and test that at 1940, but it just wasn't the case. So I basically just liquidated my short. I mean, I'd already done very well on it anyway, so it wasn't too much of a big deal. And then we came in today, and I just carried on intraday trading. I mean, I wish now that I'd established a long position. I mean, it's quite obvious in hindsight from what we see with the accumulation, and I'm not going to go into this in detail, but it is what it is. I mean, we'll start into one time frame, and whatever, it doesn't matter. So we came in today, and we opened up this huge gap, and off of the open, we came in, and I basically just sold the open. I mean, we opened up right on top of the overnight high, and we sold all the way down. We got some good scales, and then on the next period we came in and we spiked up higher, and I added to this. I'm going to quickly show you on the. Give me a second. So off of the open, right here, which I believe it was. Let's zoom this out a bit. So this was the open here. So off the open, we opened right up at the overnight high. So from my first expectation was to target to Vwap on the other side and look for a potential gap fill. So I sold the overnight highs. We came down. I got some alright scales on this, and then we just bounced back, and then we see a push higher into B period, and obviously this was. I'm doing some research at the minute whether it should be an hour initial balance or just a 30-minute initial balance. I mean, we was doing some research on this before, but I've not really focused on the S&P. I've only started trading the S&P recently because of this huge volatility that's been coming into the market. And so we popped up above the initial balance, and we found a responsive seller. So I added to my position here from I got a very, very good feel actually from some 41s from some support I was looking at. And it looked really good actually. I mean, we auctioned all the way back down, and we tried to break through Vwap, and we pushed below the initial balance. And there's just huge buying absorption here. We just cut out all of basically there was just buyers here, and they just cut the sellers off. And we came in, and we broke the one time frame on the day. So I liquidated my short, and I just waited to see what would happen here. And we came up, and we closed inside the initial balance, and finally we see the buying imbalance confirmed right here. So what I did is I just waited for a pullback, and the pullback came, and I just started to buy 40s. I bought 40s, and I added a bit more on this 38s, and we finally see this huge buying imbalance into the close, and just it rallied. I mean this is the current composite I was looking at, and this is exactly what happened. I mean, I'll show you. I talked to quite a few traders through the day, some market makers in crude, and I know quite a lot of some big fish in the ponds, and we were just discussing this with him. So this is what I sent to him before this happened. I mean, his market making algos were selling 42s. I don't know, I can't remember what he was saying, but obviously I was just saying that I thought we were going to rally, and the buying imbalance was confirmed. We'd clearly held the gap, and this is my expectation, was to trade this distribution bell curve, and there was some sort of key areas I was looking at 60s. I mean, I said there was a load of buy stops above here. We didn't actually trigger the buy stops; it didn't look, but there was some areas looking at up here, and the market just rallied. I mean, that was another very decent trade today. I mean, we sort of was hovering around this month's VWAP, and we were hovering around the developing value area high on the quarter, and I posted on Twitter that the next location is 67 and a new high, and we'll just see this huge rally today into the close with a buying imbalance to the sell side. I mean, off the open, I thought we looked quite rotation on the week, and we sort of pulled back to that previous week's value. So I was looking to sell it back down to 10s, 12s, and I was going to buy it back up. But we just came into value, and there was just no sellers. I mean, there was just buying absorption on everything I could see. So I just, after trying to do the gap play, I ended up just jumping on for the buying imbalance, and got some very, very decent targets into this $58.60 on the S&P 500, and ended up just being an amazing day again for crude and the S&P for us. I mean, just very logical. Just made a lot of sense with what we were seeing. And like I said, first of all, I tried the gap play, and then when that didn't work, I just went with the buying imbalance. And as you can see, it worked out almighty well. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. And if anyone does have any questions around what we do and why we do it, then please do not hesitate to ask. Tomorrow is my last trading day, and that will probably be it until the new year. Sunday I'm going to Scotland for a week with my family, and so I won't be around for until the 27th, and then it's New Year and it's all systems go for 2015. I mean, we'll probably do some end of quarter and end of year reports for crude oil and the S&P for the forum and for you traders, and we'll start preparing for the 2015 trade. So anyway, I will catch you all before then, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and I'll catch you soon. Take care and goodbye.